I'm going to be looking at something a little bit different today. And you've probably heard of them, and they're called microgreens. It's something that anybody can grow, either indoors or out. And it's a very fast growing crop. So if you like to see results from your efforts in as little as 9 days, this might be something worth trying out. Basically what you're going to be doing is overseeding trays so that you end up with a big mass of tiny seedlings growing all together. And you'll let those seedlings grow to a height of around 45 inches and then you harvest them. And they're a brilliant little side dish to put with loads of different types of meals. But the best thing about them is microgreens contain 40% more nutrition than a fully grown plant. And that's why they're known as superfoods. And you can grow them from pretty much any type of vegetable seed. With the exceptions of things like cucumbers, peppers and tomatoes. Anything that produces a very small seedling will do. And you don't need to be buying specialised microgreen seeds. The seeds that you use to grow microgreens are the exact same seeds that you use to grow your fully grown plants. So if you've been struggling growing things this year and you'd like to see some quick results, try some microgreens. So we're going to start some off today, and we'll start off by doing radish, because radish is the easiest and fastest growing microgreen you could do, so it is the very best one to start with. When you harvest these little seedlings, you're going to get a nice little bunch of salad that's got a little peppery taste to it. Before we get to that stage, we've got to do a bit of prep, so I'll go over each thing that we need to do. And then this weekend you could set yourself up with some fresh homegrown microgreens. When it comes to the trays you're using, the first thing you need to do is not just grab any tray out of the garden. They need to be clean. So you can select your trays, but then you need to take them indoors and give them a really good scrub in hot water. And you're going to need a couple of different types of trays. You'll need a tray like that that's got no holes in. You're going to use that as a bottom watering tray when you need it. And then you need another tray that's got lots of holes in, and that needs to fit inside that one. You're then going to need another tray that hasn't got any holes in that you can drop on top like this. And you're going to use that one to weight these seedlings down as they start to grow. But let's not jump gun. First job, get these indoors, get them scrubbed, and then we'll move on to the next step. That's that part done. We've took them inside, they've had a really good scrub, and then I've poured boiling water over these trays as well, just to make sure there's no insect eggs hiding in these crevices anywhere. Because when you grow microgreens, you don't need a greenhouse. You don't have to grow them outside. They're perfectly suited to be grown indoors. All you're going to need is a sunny window, or artificial light if you can do that. But you won't need that for the first 5 days or so of growing these. So we'll cover that part when we get to it. But just so you know that if you want to grow these indoors, then that's a perfectly good environment to do that. Also, you don't need to grow them in trays of this size. You can use any size tray you want. You can even use just little tubs if you want to get a mixture of different types of microgreens and just have small portions to harvest, which we've done before. We've set up trays like these, and then we've just put 4 smaller cartons inside this one tray, so we can again bottom water them, but obviously we always drilled in bottoms. And then we had 4 different types of microgreens growing in a very small area. So the next thing that we need to do is put us compost in. Now when you're growing microgreens, you're only going to grow them to quite small seedlings, so you don't need to fill a tray up with compost. That's just a waste. You can just half fill them. Just a couple of inch in the bottom of that tray is going to be perfect. And if you don't want to use compost, you could also use paper towels, and I've done that in the past. I've just put quite a thick layer of paper towel across the bottom of a tray, getting it a good watering, and then put all my seeds on top. And they've grown perfectly fine like that. And obviously because you're using paper towels, when you come to harvest, there's no mess because there's no soil in there. So you can just lift out the entire thing and harvest what you want. Today I'm going to be using some compost, but I might set up a few more trays later on using that paper towel method, because I've got videos on that I did quite a while ago and it definitely does work. So that would be an even cheaper option. So basically, this has been sieved, and if you can, ideally, if you're using compost that you've bought from the store, you might want to put that in a bucket as well and pour boiling water over it, just in case there's any insect eggs inside this. For now, I'm just going to use it as it is, because we are growing one of the fastest growing microgreens, being radish. I'll bring you in a little bit closer so you can see exactly what I'm doing. And you can see I'm just putting a covering of compost across the bottom of there. Just a small amount. And then what we need to do is make sure this is leveled out. We need to be working on a flat bed. So I'll just use a piece of wood and we'll level all that out. So we're going to make sure we give it a really good watering. Like that. Now when it comes to your seeds, as I mentioned before, you don't need any special kind of seed. Just get the cheapest seeds that you can. And what we need to be doing with these seeds is overseeding. So we're going to sprinkle them over the top of this compost. And this radish is called French breakfast as well. And when I'm finished sprinkling those seeds, this is what you're going to have. An overseeded tree. And that's the density of seeds that you're looking for. You don't want them stacked on top of each other. Just nicely spread out across the whole of that tree. I'm just going to give them another quick misting over the top. Just so I know that there's plenty of moisture in here, because we'll probably not bother watering those again until they've germinated. And then I'm just going to lightly tap these down, just so I know that they've got very good contact with that compost. And we leave it at that. We don't cover these seeds. What we need to do is then take this other tray and sit that on top like that. So basically you're covering all these seeds up. They can't get any light whatsoever. Then we need to weight this down. We need to add a few pounds of weight to this tray, so it's constantly pushing down on those seedlings as they start to grow. And what will happen is they will start to push this tray up. And that's what we want them to do. Because as they're doing that, you're getting straighter seedlings. But I'm not going to put anything on top of here, front garden, because obviously it's not clean. So I'll find some kind of a weight indoors, and that's where I'm going to take these. I'm going to put them indoors in a warm place while they germinate, because they don't need any light. As these seeds start to germinate and they start pushing that tray up, you're going to get to a point where they're a couple of inches tall. And at that point, what you want to do is take that tray off at the stage that you've got all these seedlings growing, and then you need to flip that tray and put it back over the top like that. And that's called the blackout stage. So these seedlings are under here still trying to grow, but they're still not getting any light, so they're going to stretch. And that's how you get nice long microgreens. And they're going to be yellow in colour as well, because they're not getting any photosynthesis. And then you'll wait until they're round about at the top of this tray, and then you'll take that off. And you'll expose all these seedlings to light. And within 2 days, those plants will have grown probably another inch taller, but they'll also be a really nice green colour. And then the harvest stage comes after that. Let them get to about 5 or 6 inches tall, and then just cut across the amount that you want, and that's how you harvest them. We'll cover that in a few days' time once we get to that stage. So for now, we just want to put that over there. We'll take it indoors, we'll weight that tray down, and then we'll come back to it. So there we go, that's something different that you can try. And the great thing about these is you can grow them indoors through autumn and winter as well, providing you've got somewhere you can put them that's warm, so that all these seeds germinate. And then you're going to have to offer them some light as well, once they reach that stage where you're taking that top away. But for now, that tray's set up, and you can do it with all different types of vegetables, as we mentioned at the beginning. Probably the only one to stay away from would be things like lettuce, because lettuce doesn't really offer much in the way of nutrition. But things like red cabbage would be a really good one, because they are highly nutritious. And you've also got that mixture of green and red as a little side salad. It's got to be worth a try. We've had a rubbish year at growing plants this year so far. So this is something that we can grow to reach maturity and harvest in around 9 days. And you can do it indoors. So that might be something worth a look. We'll come back to those in a few days once they've germinated, and we'll follow progress of those until we come to time to harvest them. And I'm sure by the time we get to the end of it, in less than 2 weeks' time, you'll be very tempted to go and get some cheap seeds and start your own little microgreens, just to get those little garnishes on the side of your plate, knowing that you're putting 40% more nutrition into your body from these little seedlings than you would from a fully grown plant. And it's also a perfect way to get rid of loads of seeds that you might have that are just about running out of date and still get something from it. Just make sure that if you do that, try and stick to varieties of the same. Don't mix up all different types of seeds together in a tray, because they're going to grow at different rates, which you don't want. But you can section them off in the same tray if you want to do that. But I prefer to just take one tray, one variety, and then set up others as I need to. And that's something we're going to be doing over the next few weeks. If you're interested in seeing how these microgreens turn out, please hit that subscribe button, press that notifications bell, and I'll see you next time. Take care.